Welcome to Season 8 of Paper Talk,
where we will explore how to build a creative community that fuels your art and your business.
Hi, I'm Quinn Nguyen of Pink & Posy.
I'm Jessie Chu of Crafted to Bloom.
And I'm Sarah Kim of Handmade by Sarah Kim.
This season is all about connections.
We'll share stories, strategies, and collaborations that strengthen your own community.
Tune in every other Thursday for new episodes.
Thanks for joining us today, and be sure to follow Paper Talk Podcast. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Paper Talk. Today, we have a really fun topic, something that is on all three of our minds because we've been doing it quite a bit. And we had some questions from you guys on how do we video and photograph our work. So today, we're going to talk about our filming and photography equipment that we use on a regular basis. And it's going to be a fun episode. We can't wait to share all the behind the scenes, how we go about shooting things for all of our social media, our website, our newsletter. And following this particular episode, if you're listening to this in the future, we're going to do a one on website. So stay tuned for that one, you guys. It's going to be a really fun one. I'm going to point the camera or the mic towards Sarah because I feel like out of all three of us, wouldn't you agree, Jessie, that Sarah probably does the most photography and video every single day compared to us?
Yes, definitely.
So Sarah, lay out all your secrets because I know that I feel like Jessie and I, we are very curious on your camera setup because you do everything yourself.
Yes.
And it's amazing because we had the inside track of how she does it. Like she tells us she films things 2 or 3 times the same thing, because it's a lot easier and more interesting for the viewers to see different angles. So instead of just doing face forward, and that's something, Sarah, thank you so much, I've been implementing myself on doing, and it takes a lot of extra work.
Yeah.
How do you go about framing this? And then tell us about the equipment that you use to get this together.
Yeah, I do have a expensive camera that I upgraded and invested into. I do think you can start out with an iPhone. These days, the iPhone is like so amazing, but I do have like a whole camera setup that I really like. It's kind of taken a long time to get to where I am in terms of equipment. It is something that you kind of have to do your own research and figure out which one you like. But I do use a bunch of Sony cameras, not a bunch, but like two different cameras that I have that's through Sony. And then I invested a lot of money into a lens. So the lens is actually the most important part, I feel like, because really any Sony camera could work, anything from low end to high end. To me, is like the same thing. It's actually the lens that makes it more important. And the lens that I have, it's actually a Sony GM 16 to 35 millimeter wide angle zoom. And the reason why I love it so much is because it can zoom from far away, or it can give you a wide shot all at once, and it's super high quality. And I want to say the focusing is very quiet, because usually those kind of cameras, when you like try to go in and out, like close up or not close up, it makes like cracking noises from the lens. But this one, it's really quiet.
The Canon does that.
The Canon does that. And I used to have a Canon, and that's actually one of the main reasons why I upgraded to the Sony. Yeah, so I do a handful of different shots, one action that I do. But the reason why I do that is because I am trying to do a lot more storytelling within the one video. And I don't think this is necessary for everyone. It's just this is how I film it to make it so that it kind of has a little bit of a higher quality of content. But you know what? There's so many content out there that they just do one shot and it looks great. And it can go viral. So I don't think like it's necessarily like you have to have this nice camera and you have to have all these shots. But I am a very much like aesthetic girl. Like I want to have like a very specific look and I want it to look pretty. And I do think like it doesn't do justice for your flowers if you just have one shot of it, you know, like bird's eye, because that's what I used to do. But I felt like it's like doing a disservice to my flowers through video. This is only through video. I'm sure you can take really great photos in your own way with your phone or whatever. But I think through video, I feel like you do have to kind of put in a little bit of a high quality like look to your production overall. Yeah, I mean, if you guys have questions very specific to like camera equipment, I love that stuff. I actually love like kind of doing a little bit of a research to figuring out what camera is like better or worse or whatever. But yeah, that's my kind of like camera setup currently. I do love the Sony cameras for video specifically. And I know like Quinn, like you got a really good Canon camera, and I was kind of like, ooh, this is really nice. But I had to go away from Canon just because I wanted to focus on video.
Though the reason why I ended up getting the Canon was because I got the book deal, and I felt like, this book is going to live on the shelves of people forever. And the Canon that I did have was a D7, which is one of the older one. It wasn't a digital, it wasn't DSLR, and even though I had good lens, and you could definitely do it, but I just felt like I wanted that upgrade because I felt like I've already had the camera for, I would say, a good 8 years already. And I felt like it was time for me to upgrade. And this is over time. I mean, 8 years is a long time to have a camera. And I feel like a lot of influencer creators, they're always like, I want the new best thing. And I have to say, I do that with the iPhone because I feel like I'm always running out of memory. And it's like, So that's the one thing that I do drop some money to get the best because I do use my phone a lot. I actually can work off of my phone because of email and all that. I felt that was a good investment. Whereas the camera, the D7 does okay video, but it has that clicking noise. Oh my gosh. Can I tell you, every time it would try to like refocus, it would like click, click, click.
Yes. It like crackles. Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I've heard it.
Oh my gosh. Yes. It's so annoying. And so the new one, the DSLR, doesn't do that, thank goodness, which has been quite a nice saver. I did invest in really good lenses. Sarah's actually correct on using a wide. I would say try for like a 50 millimeter that will give you a wide angle because you can zoom in really close or you can zoom out, and that will save you instead of having to buy another camera. So one of the things about lenses, and that's a whole nother episode because there are so many information about it, but there's some lens that you can't focus in. You actually have to physically move your body to move in and out. So I would recommend going into a physical camera store, testing out all the cameras. There's also some camera stores who will let you rent their cameras, rent it out for the week, and then use it every single day. Make a list of things that you need to shoot, close angles, wide angles, do videos, do still, and rent out a camera for the whole month, like 4 different cameras. Do the Sony, do the Fuji, do the Nikon, do the Canon, and then see what felt good in your hand. And also choose the same lens. That way you have a little guidance or parameters to make sure that this is what you're going to be shooting with and feel more comfortable with.
And actually, all my cameras, they are pre-owned. I never purchased it brand new. So I do totally recommend you looking up just like pre-owned sites. I think there's like a whole like tech website where it's just like pre-owned tech related things. So they have cameras that are much cheaper. I think it's worth it to go through that because I've never had a bad experience in pre-owned cameras. I even found mine that I currently use right now. I found it on OfferUp, and I met him up at like Starbucks. So,
and Facebook Market is a really great place. Try to shoot for neighbors that are on the wealthier side because maybe they gave a gift to their teenage and their teenage not using it, so they barely use it. So I found some really deals through that way too.
I was going to ask Sara, regardless of the camera, whether it's the iPhone or camera that you use, what is your setup? So do you do you video yourself doing one action using multiple camera at the same time, or do you do it separately? Do you do it one at a time? Do you like let it run for 30 minutes, or do you let it run for 30 seconds? I mean, 30 minutes is a long time. It's a lot to edit. But I find that really interesting because to me, nowadays, honestly, most of the cameras are pretty good. I don't think you can get really, really bad shots, right? But it's like, it's the setup. It's the process I find really different, I guess. Like you have to think on a different level. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I definitely try not to shoot like an hour straight because that's just so much memory in both your SD card and to your computer when you upload it and things like that. But it is a lot of prepping. It's kind of like prepping for a cooking show. I've actually been on a cooking show, which is like crazy for Paper Flowers. It's really random. But basically they have it like all made on a table. They like kind of work backwards in a sense, right? They have like the already made version. They have like things in between where they're about to make it. But that's actually all pre-done so that when you're ready to film, it's kind of go, go, go. They don't like wait for an hour for your chicken to boil or whatever, right? So it's very similar to that. I kind of have everything a little bit prepped in advance. And so that the in between, I'm not spending a whole hour just sitting, like my camera is rolling for a whole hour. It's not like that. So, and for the action shots, I do use one camera and I just change it And I'm literally like, if I'm cutting the same petal, well, you know, a lot of times we're cutting the same petal over and over anyways. But if I cut one, I'll cut it like say at one angle, and then I'll move my camera and then cut at a different angle, the same thing over and over.
The same thing.
So that it creates like kind of like a different movement without it really, going like that. Actually, one of my suggestions is I used to use like a heavy duty tripod initially because my camera is so heavy. But I realized like because it's so heavy and it's like super professional looking, every time I wanted to move it around, it was so bulky. And it was like too much work because there's too many things to change on the tripod. And so I actually bought like a really cheap like version where it's just like a little click. And I mean, I can't promise you the sturdiness of it, but it's just so nice because it's compact. Yeah.
Right.
Like, I mean, it holds my camera and my lens is really heavy, but like my camera itself is a little bit lighter because the Sony cameras tend to be a little bit light. So I just got like a cheaper tripod so that it's quicker. I think that's what I realized, like the heavy duty ones that I bought for real filming, it's actually like too much step. So then it like takes too much time for me to like change things around. So I would actually recommend, I'll link it for you guys. It's pretty cheap and it's actually kind of cute because I got the white one. So it looks pretty in the background too. So I would say just moving it around a few times would help. I do kind of have like a script in mind too before I start filming. So I do kind of tell myself, okay, I'm going to do this first and then kind of give myself a schedule. It really is kind of like a full production. If you guys have done photo shoots, you kind of have a real like schedule for your photo shoot. It's like kind of like that, but for my day to day. And I do this every day. It really is every day.
Wow. And also do a B-roll shot, like a list of things that you want to capture because when you're filming, you forget. You're thinking you're getting all this, but if you have a checklist, it will go so much smoother and you know exactly what to do. If you're like, oh, what do I do next? Just go to your list. Did I do that shot? And then you check it off and you're like, okay, moving on to the next one. It really helps calm you down and you give yourself your own direction on how to move things. And the most time is the pre-prep. As Sarah's mentioned, you have to pre-prep all your materials. You have to do your list. You have to make sure that you know when you have natural light. I have to say, I filmed because I had to, because I was running out of time. We're in Seattle. It was really dark and the timing was not right, but that was the only time that was available for me to shoot. And editing afterwards was really hard. It was just like, oh, I oversaturated and there's only so much you can do. So when you are filming in the dark, don't overexpose because you can't edit that out, but you can increase the exposure a little bit. So without making it look really bad. But that's my tip for you. Find a good day. Check the weather all the time. Make sure it's sunny. Sarah, you don't have that problem. It's always sunny down in California.
Yes,
You're so
actually, I have really good lighting in my room. I'm like so lucky. I don't have to ever edit like extra light. That's definitely not an issue here.
Yes, so lucky. How about you, Jessie? What's your equipment?
Gosh, I do use my iPhone a lot as well. It's for Instagram. It's been really reliable, I guess. It's been really reliable. I think it's because also the AI in it edits it for you, right? In terms of lighting, in terms of focus, and it does such an amazing job with that. And then I like using the portrait and cinematic modes as well to get the f-stops. So to get, focus on a closer object and then getting the nice fade bokeh in the background. I find the cinematic mode in the video, it's what makes it cinematic, right? It kind of like, you're kind of faking a really, expensive professional camera using it. And it does an amazing job. I guess the difficulty is always just like, you're the only person. So you do have to set things up where it's hard if you're holding on to something, right? You have to kind of like either do something where you practice it like 5-10 times. I don't know how many times I like do a shot, but I do find that changing up the angle or changing up from where starting off of the opening image makes a difference. Like Sarah was talking about movement, because our paper flowers are indoors, there's no wind, it's not going to move, maybe in your hands. But if it's not in your hands and you're putting it on a vase, it's really still. And that stillness can be too still when you're recording. When it's on video. On like photographs, it's fine. It's different. It's a different feel. It's like a really nice and quiet feel. But on video, it's kind of too quiet. Like it's so obvious that it's quiet that you sort of want to mix it up. So you want to start far and coming in close, or close and coming out, or from below. I find the below really interesting. It's a different view. So if you come from, starting from below and you're angling your camera a little bit tilted upwards as opposed to flat or down. We often see things down, right? We look at our flowers because we're taller. Our eye level tends to be 45 degrees as opposed to, it's not even usually 90 degrees. So just seeing it from a different angle, I think is really interesting. And that's just experimenting. It's just, we all have cameras. It's just how you use it. That's important. And I think the fun thing is experimenting. Literally, either it's lighting. So we all love side lighting, right? All florists also love side lighting. You can experiment with side lighting, but there's so many different types of side lighting. You could have some backlighting to the side lighting, or the side lighting could hit from a slightly, I guess, more perpendicular angle as opposed to 45 degrees. And it could give such a different mood, I guess, to your flowers or whatever you're photographing. So I think it's really interesting to experiment because, like Quinn, what you were saying, or what Sara, both of you were saying, essentially is it doesn't give your flowers justice if you only do one thing all the time and it's maybe not the most flattering look. I think there are ways to look for ways to make it more, not just flattering, but to tell the story you want to tell about it. I think it's an extra step to take that is more than just the sculpture, which is why I went and I started moving slowly into photography, is because I felt that we were missing that another element to it, I guess. Whatever. Fourth element. I don't want to say fourth dimension, but another element to it that I think that is really interesting. And for that, I do use a camera, but it's not even a professional one. I mean, it's expensive. It's a GFX, the Fujifilm GFX, but it's a 50 SII. So it's expensive. The lenses are very expensive. I'm still on a zoom lens, so telescope lens, because I haven't yet completely decided on which prime lens to invest in. And Quinn, you were just talking about that. The prime lenses are the ones where you have to actually physically step up or step
exactly.
back. The zoom ones are the ones where there's a range. But the zoom ones are really good to start with because you can play around with it and see which range you like before investing in a prime lens. And the prime lenses tend to be a little bit sharper. They tend to be better in low lighting. So if that's not really a problem for you, then you don't have to invest in a prime lens. It's not necessary at all. But prime lenses are lighter too, so a little bit more mobile. These zoom lenses are huge. They're so heavy, right?
Yeah, so heavy.
So you have to be very careful because I swear, I'm not even a clumsy person, but I'm always forever knocking the legs of my tripod. It has to be so wide in order to make sure it doesn't tilt down. And it's that I'm really scared about because it's expensive. If it falls,
you need a sandbag for your tripod.
Yes, sandbags as well. It's crazy. But I only use that for literally to take photographs of my flowers. I don't use it on a regular basis. The files are way too big. The reason why I got the GFX is because you could blow up the images so really big and still maintain really good pixels. But I don't use it on a regular basis because the files are big and I don't find it's entirely necessary. That said, if you do want to focus on photography, I think you do have to invest a little bit in a good camera just so you can, it's funny because I used to own the T4, but before that I owned a Nikon and they're a little bit different. They do look different. I think it is the camera. It's the way that the light hits them. The aesthetic is a little bit different. But that said, what I find is honestly, the camera is just as good as the camera person behind it, the photographer. It's not about the camera. You can start with your iPhone. You wouldn't be able to tell that a lot of images, you can't even tell they're iPhone images. It's really the person behind the camera and how you use it and what you look for and how well you know your camera too. In terms of lighting, what do you like? It's the aesthetic part that defines the photograph, not the camera. So that's why I wouldn't invest too much in a camera initially. Secondhand is great. A zoom lens is great until you find out, what you like. And the iPhone is
amazing.
The only thing, it is amazing. The only thing I don't like about the iPhone is the angles that it takes photos from. The lens, that bothers me because unlike a professional camera or just a camera that you can manually adjust, you know what you get when you zoom in and zoom out. With the iPhone camera,
there's 4 lenses on there.
Yeah. And if you pay attention to what it looks like, a lot of times the wide angle lens distorts the image so much more than a professional one. And so if you know, when you do the zoom in 0.5 or 1 or 2 or 3, you'll notice it, especially the 0.5. Crazy. It's like a crazy wide, like wide angle lens. I don't even know what number it is. So the only thing is like, unless if you're using, it's like the standard one, like the one that pops up, like whichever function it is that pops up. If you try to do funky things, like use like the extremes, then it doesn't do that well. Then it looks really fake, you know? But if you're using just like the standard, whatever f-stop it comes in, or it's really the lens, it's the zoom ins and stuff, then it's like, it's pretty good. And using that to practice, I think practice first and then invest. I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to eventually invest, just because, like I was saying, like as our paper flowers, when you are trying to post it, whether it's for your website or for Instagram, like you do need to take good photos. And it's unfortunate sometimes when we do see paper florists and we look at their photos. I mean, we know that their flowers are probably amazing, but their photos are weak. And you're like, oh, that's unfortunate, you know? So I think eventually we naturally have to become photographers too. It's almost kind of like you should invest your time into learning it, like whether it is videography or photography, like you kind of have to, in this day and age, you have to.
Yeah. And the photos I do see, I think people are shooting it in the evening and using the camera light. So it has that weird yellow and it changes the color of everything. Yeah. If you can just wait until the next day, morning light, you're going to get a more blue tint, get it as close to the window as possible, natural light. That will change the whole look of it. And when you do photograph, and I would like to go around the room, is do a little bit underexposed so you can change the exposure after in the editing component. So any advice you can give to our listener on, and I also want to ask, would you mind sharing your phone camera setting or video setting on what you have on your phone? That way we give them like really concrete. If you haven't changed the setting, like trying to get the highest amount, like 4K for the videos. And then I don't know, I have to pull mine up, but
what other settings?
Sarah, what other settings do we have?
I use everything with the highest quality. I use 4K for video for all of the functions. The problem is though, it's going to eat up all your memory space. So you do have to you have to maintain it in a sense where you have to go back and delete things if you don't need it. Yeah. And you know, when we like to take like 20 of the same photos, you have to delete it eventually.
When you have a downtime before you go to bed, falling asleep, just go through, find the best ones, heart it, and then delete the other ones. All right. So on my camera, what I have is I have an iPhone, and this is the 16 Pro Max. I have record video at 4K at 60 FPS, record slow-mo, because sometimes I do slow motion. I have that at 4K at 120. Record cinematic is 4K at 30 FPS. Record sound, I have spatial audio. And then I also have my grid turn on, my level turn on, because you want to make sure everything's photographed evenly. I do have my mirror front camera turn on. I have my view outside the frame turn off. And then let's see here. What else can I share on here? Yeah, I think those are the most important things that I have turned on my phone. How about you guys?
Yeah, similar.
Yeah, I think mine is very similar. I honestly didn't really change up a lot of things. I just kind of get it out of the box and go for it. But you can definitely look up YouTube videos with photographers. A lot of the settings for my camera, I just copied someone that, you know, I thought their photos looked great within the video that they were posting. And they literally do a step-by-step going through every setting. And then from there, you know, you just kind of, you have to live with it, you know, and see which one you like and which one you don't.
Sure.
And if you don't like it, you'll go find someone else and copy their settings. But they really do it like step by step. So you just pause it and then go to the setting that they're telling you, and you just change up the settings accordingly. And it should be pretty like straightforward. It is a little overwhelming and intimidating in the beginning, but there's so many resources for all sorts of things. Even the iPhone, I think they do have there's probably someone out on YouTube that says, okay, go through these settings and it'll make your video better or photos better. So
there's so many out there.
I think you can definitely look it up.
The one thing I have is I turn off my flash. I never use flash.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Because then you never run into the problem of, oh my God, like you said,
I just did flash.
Just never use flash that you don't want. I mean, there are ways to use Flash, but not on your iPhone.
Yeah. Lately, I've been using Flash on my Fujifilm camera, and I've been kind of liking the mood. And like, I don't know, I feel like everybody's bringing back the whole Y2K style. So I'm like, okay, I think I could experiment with some Flash. Yeah. I think it looks kind of cool with the paper flowers.
So if your backlighting is bright, then you can definitely use Flash. It will still look a bit more flat than side lighting, but I mean, that's a look, right? Some people love that look. So I think it's totally possible. Yeah.
Just testing it out.
It's just you just don't. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could use Flash when it's like really dark. That's like very 80s look, you know?
Yes.
But it's such a,
but it's trending. It's trending though.
Yeah. So you want to go viral, you can do that.
There's definitely a vibe to it. And I think it could be appropriate for certain, situations.
Certain looks.
Yeah.
It could be very editorial. Yeah.
And also, let's talk about video real quick. Mic or no mic, or using the camera or the iPhone mic? What's your thought?
I did upgrade my mic for my camera. So it is a shotgun mic that you put on top. It's pretty affordable. It's from Rode. I do have a wireless one too. Yeah. And there is a wireless one if you want to talk into it. And I do record a lot of my voiceovers with the Rode wireless mic, but I have a shotgun mic on my camera. So that one, it really detects it's like focusing in one area, like the direction that the mic is going into. So I think it helps. My room is really echoey. So I do think if that's the case for you guys, you need to have a mic that is a little bit more specific kind of.
I agree. I've been filming videos for Substack, even though I know Substack is about writing, but I wanted to, because I've heard that Substack is now going to be pushing live videos. So that makes me think that Substack, even though it's like a written newsletter type of format, they are incorporating and pushing more videos. So I'm trying to start in early. So when everyone's there, I've already worked out all the kinks. So it's been really interesting trying to work that out. But I do record. Interesting. We started with the Osmo DJI, but I found that the iPhone was actually really easy. And then having a nice tripod that you can shoot top angle down and then do a couple of different views has really helped. But I have the DJI wireless remote where when you pull it out of the box, it just automatically records and it's super easy to edit. And the next switch I want to talk about is now that you've taken great photos and videos, where do you guys edit your photos and videos?
Yeah, I edit everything on my computer. It is really complicated. I know a lot of people, they just edit on their phone these days, but I do think eventually you have to. I know.
We're getting old.
It's too small. Yeah.
I feel like I'm fat fingers.
Yeah. Me too. I can't even adjust the music, Right. You're like, I just want a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
I know. Yeah.
So what editing program do you use to edit your videos and photos?
I use both Premiere Pro and Final Cut Pro. So I do like Premiere Pro just because I feel like you could customize it a lot more. And that's where I started. But it's actually a lot more intimidating to learn because it does kind of like the first time I saw it, when I opened it, I was like, what is this? It looks crazy. There's like so many functions.
I think it's too much
and so many options. Yeah. And I was like so overwhelmed, but I'm glad that I learned from the hard one so that when I switched to Final Cut, it's like so easy. So I think eventually you might want to learn it. There's so many YouTube videos on how to, edit videos on Premiere or Final Cut. But actually, I use all Mac products and all of my MacBook, it was like crashing with Premiere. So eventually I just kind of had to, I kept upgrading my laptop thinking it was going to make it better, but it would, and it would still crash. Because I think Premiere is it's like too intense. Yeah. But Final Cut, it's like meant for Apple. So even if you do even if you're doing like an hour video, it doesn't crash. It's like really efficient.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So I do use both still though, because there's certain things that I like editing on Premiere and then certain things I like editing on Final Cut. But yeah, I don't know how people do it on their phone, but I think eventually you do have to move onto your laptop just to get the like very detailed things.
How about you, Jessie?
I mainly use Adobe products. Yeah. So Premiere Pro for all my videos and mainly only my online course. My Reels, I don't. I honestly, because I don't want to spend so much time on my Reels, then I just use Edits. Edits has been pretty good. It's a little bit more sensitive on the fingers. I find I can kind of like a little bit more, 1 second as opposed to like, anyways, you're able to be a little bit more detailed on it. But yeah, well, with photography, it's always Lightroom first, right? And then you go into Photoshop. And I love Photoshop. That's what I grew up with. So I love tinkering in Photoshop. It's like an art in itself and doing something.
It really is.
Different.
Yeah. There's so much to learn. It's a whole nother rabbit hole.
It is another rabbit hole. What I like about the Adobe suite is that there are overlapping like functions and all the buttons all kind of look the same. And so once you get into it, once you know one, it's a lot easier to kind of learn the others because it has kind of similar system as well. But yeah, it's been too long for me to remember when I first started Photoshop. I can't really say. But yeah, those are what I mainly use. I just thinking what else I use. That's pretty much, I think that's it. And then Snapseed if I'm like super lazy and I'm like, I just want to remove this from my iPhone, like photo.
I have to admit, we're having the iPhone, having a MacBook and an iPad. I love that everything syncs into the cloud and I can edit anything anywhere and it will just automatically airdrop so easily because before I used to have a PC and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I have to put it on this hard drive and move it over to here and then move it over there. It was such a pain. But once I finally convinced my husband, I'm going to be an Apple person because I'm doing so much creative artist things. It just made more sense. And I have to say PC, I kept crashing, just like what you were saying about the Adobe Suite. I used to have that and it was just really bad. And then once I did switch over to a MacBook, it was like, everything worked so well. It was great.
And airdropping your videos, so easy.
Yes. So easy. Yeah. And then I would say copying text. If I have something on my phone, like I wrote out a paragraph when I was just sitting waiting for somebody. And I was like, I can just copy and paste it onto my MacBook without having to email it to myself. Because that's what I used to have to do. It's like if I had things I went from my phone to thing, I had to email it to myself. And it was just such a mess, but it makes it so much easier. So if you're serious about photography, video, and you're posting things almost anywhere, move on to that MacBook Apple world. They really have partnered together to make it so much easier
for creators. Yeah.
This is not a paid ad. It's something that we all three have worked on for many, many years. And it's just so makes your life so much easier. It really, really does.
I know. Yeah. The less barriers there are, the better.
Yes.
Because then it becomes an excuse and procrastination, and that's just not enjoyable. So the easier you can make it for yourself, the more likely you'll actually do it. Yeah, for sure.
And I do think a lot of this conversation, I feel like maybe for someone that is new, it's intimidating. But eventually, after, I want to say maybe even 2-3 months in, you're you get a workflow for yourself and figuring out how to schedule yourself, how to prep things before you film or photograph. And I think you do need to give yourself grace within that first 2-3 months. And then it does get easier. And even editing, when I first started, it would take me all day. Cause I was I didn't know what I was doing. I had to keep looking things up to figure out what function it does what. But after, I want to say after a weekend, I was okay, I think I'm getting the hang of this. And then after 3 months in, I would crank out videos very easily. It's so easy now. So I do think you need to put in that work in practicing it. And once you get the hang of it, it should get easier.
Yeah. And I highly recommend dedicating one day to film everything and then a couple of days to edit everything and then just line it up. That way you don't have to be I need to film this and then you edit it. And then I need to film this, then I need to edit it. If you can do everything in one day, batch work it. Film a lot of different content and the prep work is going to take the most time. Really writing out all the different content, your shot list, what needs to happen, what's going to happen the day you're shooting, what's going to happen the day after, and how you're going to post it. Because that's the most important things. You have all this video footage on your phone, use it, edit it, make it happen because you don't know how much you have. I look at my phone every week. I'm what do I pull? And I was and I'm so grateful that I have all this content dating back from years back that I'm oh, I can refresh this, re-edit it because I learned something new. And always challenge yourself, learn something, and watch other people's video and be inspired by it. It's oh, can I mimic what they do? That's That's fun for me. If I see someone doing a really fun editing, it's like, oh, how do they do that? Can I do that? How do they do that? I'm going to see if I can do it. It's just really fun. It keeps things moving. You never know if your video will hit viral or not. And it's not important that it does. You just got to keep doing what you're doing, and you have to produce something that you love. Don't copy other people unless you like what they're doing and you want it to fit in your own portfolio, and just have fun with it. That's the most important thing.
I actually started doing cooking videos recently, and it's fun. It is fun, but also really messy. Yeah. I do think like, how do I have like dough all over my hands and then turn off my my camera and then move it? Or like, I'm like, oh no, I have to wash my hands like 30 times.
A lot of credit to cooking influencer and creators, because there's so many steps that you have to think about. They make it look so clean and organized, but everyone knows that you make a giant mess when you cook. There's all these pots and pans and plates and utensils waiting in the sink to be cleaned.
Totally.
But let's move on to our fun portion. So let's gear our interesting purchase to fit our topic. So I'll start off with mine. I highly, highly advise everyone to get a really good tripod. That whatever shooting materials that you're using, either the phone or the camera, find a tripod that really fits it, that's lightweight but sturdy. And so I've been shooting a lot with my iPhone because the iPhone has gotten more and more expensive. And it's something that I've been telling myself I need to use more of it. Geekcraft tripod. And I'll put the link in the show notes for you guys to get it, but it's amazing. You just tap the bottom of the tripod, it pops open and extends out to almost 7 feet in height, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I know. So you can really get up there.
Yeah, you can get up there.
And then the most important thing, because I haven't purchased a new tripod in a while, and most of the tripod that I had purchased back then was the one where you had to like shift the thing to hold your phone. And that was always move every single time. And I kept like, oh my God, I got to reposition the tripod, reposition the phone. But now they have the magnetic. And so you just pop it on and it actually angles. So if you wanted to like shoot really high, but angle down, you can get that really cool look, or you can shoot from the bottom and shoot up. So it's been a game changer, and it's so lightweight and so easy to use. I do wish they came with a smaller one that you can put on your tabletop, but this one in a pinch totally works really, really well. And I've been using it a lot.
I think the tough thing with the tripod is like, you're always looking for something that's slim enough that can go right behind you. Because you're often like, you want that overhead shot, that over the shoulder shot. And like, if it's too bulky, you can't get close enough to the camera, or the camera can't get close enough to you. So like having a slim one that's like very portable, I think is, it's like a good buy.
Yeah. And masking tape, you guys. If you can put a masking tape where your tripod is at, that way you don't have like, where did that tripod go? Or you moved it, you knocked it over, you can like quickly put it back as a marker.
That's a good one.
How about you, Jessie?
I guess it would be a tethering cable. I have this orange one that I can connect to my camera, to my computer or laptop, whatever it is. And so I can control like when I shoot or the exposure and all that stuff from my computer instead. But to be honest, my main thing is so I can see it in the bigger screen. Because I mean, the screen on my camera is not small, but it's still like so much better to see it big, right? On the screen for me, it's the sharpness. It's to make sure it's sharp enough. Because the worst thing is you're taking all these beautiful photos, and on your little screen, it looks like you have to like zoom in every time to make sure it's like, okay, it's sharp where I want it to be, and then zoom out. And it's such a process, right? So being able to see it immediately pop up on my computer is really nice. And then the other thing too is that if you can see on the computer there, so I know for sure Capture One has the ability to layer photos. So you can layer things on top of each other, where one is more, is less opaque than the other. And so you can actually play with the ability of either overlapping digitally, like the photos or the images you're taking, or like we used it a lot when we were doing like a stamp project where you know where the border is. And so you can actually play with the image while seeing how it would look on a mock-up kind of thing. Yeah, the tethering, it's great. Like it's a really good way to make it more enjoyable and to actually see, it like appear before your eyes. Yeah. But I don't know how much it is. Probably 20. Sorry, maybe $30. I'm talking about $30. Maybe not 20, but $30.
Yeah. I would say this tripod is a little bit more expensive. It's in the $40, $50 range, depending on when it has its sale, but it's a really good investment to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Sarah?
Yeah, I don't have anything that's under $20 for camera related things either. But one of my favorite lenses actually is, it is an affordable one. I want to say maybe it's $100, which is really cheap for being a lens. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a brand called Viltrox. I think that's what it's called. It is definitely not like a, popular or brand name lens, but I did test it out because it was $100. I was like, oh, I might as well buy it. I do love it a lot. And I use it with my Sony. It is compatible. So it's a Viltrox. I use the 20 millimeter. It is fixed, but it's like the perfect lens
angle
for every day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I could carry it around. It's really light because it's cheap, but it's actually like the quality is really good. So if you guys are looking for a really cheap lens, this one's a really good one. It's light and compatible with Sony. I think that brand probably has other compatible lenses with other companies. So maybe you guys could check it out.
Yeah.
But the one that I use, it's a Viltrox 20 millimeter for my Sony.
Yeah. And we'll link all this down in our show notes. So if you're looking for these particular gears and cameras, we'll have a more in-depth written up show notes that talks about all this.
Yeah.
Go to our website, papertalkpodcast.com. It lists all of our show notes. And usually wherever you're listening in Apple, it'll link you back in. So just check the show notes for each of these episodes and you'll be able to find the show notes for these with the links. But we're so excited that you guys are here. If you really enjoyed this podcast, give us a like and a follow. And even better, if you can just drop a comment and support us. That would mean the world to us because we have been working on this podcast, for a really, really long time, since 2018. Can you believe that? It's been really amazing. We're on our 8th season and we're almost to our 200th episode, which is amazing and really wonderful. And it's been really exciting. So we're so happy you're here with us. So stay tuned to the next one. We're going to be talking and deep diving about website, what you should have on there, what kind of wordings. And this is going to be good because that's the really interesting thing in our mastermind. Website kept coming up among our members saying, what should we put on there? How should we do this? So we're going to spill our secrets, tell you the behind the secrets of our website, which platform, domains, emails, how it's been done, and we'll share it with all of you. So stay tuned. Come back in 2 weeks. Make sure to hit follow and you'll be notified when that episode drops. Talk to you soon, everybody. Bye.